You're listening to the Journey Podcast. Ever wondered what lies beneath the surface of your inner world? Join us today as we delve into inner healing and self-discovery. This episode contains adult subject matter, and some listeners may be triggered by this content. Listener discretion is advised. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Journey Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we dive into the realm of inner healing, exploring the profound journey of our guest who has traversed the depth of her own challenges and emerged with newfound wisdom and authenticity. Drawing from her own experiences, she offers insights and guidance to help women embark on their own path of inner healing and self-discovery. Through her compassionate approach, she empowers individuals to reconnect with their inner wisdom, cultivate self-love, and embrace the journey of healing and transformation. Join us as we navigate the terrain of inner healing, delving into the practices and principles that foster holistic well-being and personal growth. Through heartfelt conversation and practical tools, we invite you to embark on a journey of self-exploration, tapping into your inner resources and innate resilience. This episode truly celebrates the power of inner healing and recognizing that true transformation begins from within. Marika Bergvik's work is dedicated to guiding women toward the profound realization that they are the authors of their own lives. As a shamanic oracle, her purpose is to guide and empower women on a life-altering journey of self-discovery, inner healing, and the reclamation of their authentic power. Marika acts as a guide, supporting them in reconnecting with their inner wisdom, intuition, and the profound strength that resides within. Let's meet Marika Bergvik. Hi, Marika. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because inner healing is such a fascinating topic for today's conversation. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I love talking about healing in all different forms. So this will be wonderful to dive into today. And for starters, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and your story and how you arrived at the space of where you help people with their inner healing?
Yeah, of course, I'd love to. So, where I'm at today, I'm a shamanic oracle and I'm a solar dragon priestess. And just to take the time a little bit back and where everything started, my earliest memories when I was a child was that I felt a lot of things, I heard a lot of things, and I saw a lot of things, but to me was really normal. And I thought that everybody was, experiencing them until I started talking about them and realized that maybe that's not the case. And another thing was that I could sense that when I was at home, I was feeling just, wonderful. And every time we left the home and went out where there was a lot of people, in the city, anywhere where there were people, I started to feel really weird and could get aches and mood swings and whatnot in my body. And that was my first memory of tapping into that, my sensitivity, that as soon as I'm in other people's energy fields, I can read them like an open book. So that started from there, but it's been a rocky road. I can tell you that, to where I'm today, but with the utmost, gratefulness and love for what I'm going through, because all of that is tools that I have today. Me growing up was a time where I noticed and felt I was different, but I did everything I could to not be different. And I went through 7 years of bullying, heavy bullying, that made me really at many points wanting to end my life. And just, took on a belief that it's not safe to be me and it's not safe to show who I am. Then spiral down, different kind of things where I started just to feel really bad and growing up, then, start going out to study and live for myself. It was easy to take alcohol and start to party just, to numb myself when everything felt bad. And I also tried moving abroad, thought that everything would be so much better. But of course, everything followed me there. And when I was 20 years old, I actually got into a big car accident. And I remember so clearly, it was my friend driving, and I was sitting beside, and we were hit by a car. And just like 5 seconds before, I hear the most loudest voice in my ear that put on your seatbelt. And I did. And the second I put on the seatbelt, our car crashed. And it's actually from that point, that my way back to myself started slowly, because I could have just left this planet here, but it wasn't my time. I have a mission here to do. So slowly, I started to do the things, to do the inner work, do the inner healing, to find back to myself. It took me many years. I went through burnout as well, just, putting myself too much aside, not listening to myself and letting, other people run my life. And it took me up to 3 years ago, even, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in both of my breasts. And that was, for me, the greatest thing that could ever happen to me, because even though I had done the inner healing and how it worked with me for many years, that was the biggest part that's still missing, the love for myself and to embody who I truly am. So I'm really blessed and lucky I'm totally, free from cancer. And the thing that it did, it just showed me that now it's the time to start loving myself and being and showing up who I really am. So from there, actually, when I was on sick leave, the doors to shamanism opened. I had been working with energies many, many years before, but shamanism was my missing piece, where I felt for the first time in my life that I belonged somewhere, the feeling that I had been, searching for my whole life up till then. So that was when I actually started to really embody all my gifts and actively working with clients.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, and what a journey that has been for you, and the places that you have found, both very scary and low, and also the connection, and then feeling like you're finding your home with the shamanism. So a journey of from light to dark and dark to light and back and forth. So yeah, thank you for sharing that and giving our listeners a bit of hope in the fact that when things are difficult, and when things seem like there is nowhere to turn, that we can turn inwards and we can start loving ourselves, and we can start finding ourselves and taking the steps from there. So yeah, thank you very, very much for being so brave and sharing all of that with us. And you touch on being a shamanic oracle, and I am very, very curious how that works. Like, what does a shamanic oracle do? And how do you incorporate that in your healing journey?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question. A shamanic oracle is the core work. What I do is I help, people connect back into themselves, to their essence, to their soul and their purpose. And what happens in a session, if you come to me and I do a session, it's of course, it's a lot of things, but it's everything from checking the energy field, if how much, we sometimes have so many energies that doesn't belong to us, that is just making us feel really lost because we have no idea what's ours and what's not. And I go through that. I scan through and see if we have inherited, in an unfair way, inherited something from our ancestors. We usually have a lot that we don't even know about, that we are carrying on our shoulders, that is hindering our life, or it's just making so much harder to live the life we want to live when we are carrying something else on. It is everything from going inside and check, what is happening, emotion wise, what are we carrying? Do we have a really unprocessed trauma in there? Like, for example, for me, the one of the hardest thing for me was when I accepted the belief that it wasn't safe to be me. And that is something that gets really, really rooted in people. And that I see a lot of people, seeking from help. Because that again, activates a behavior in us that then blocks so many things in our life. Because when we are not safe in our body, everything starts to focus around fear. We get a lot of fears. We can't do that because I'm afraid of that. And so fear takes over. And also it's really connected in the money wound as well, because we can't attract the abundance or prosperity because we can't hold it if we can't even hold ourselves. So that is all of these things we go through in a session, or you don't make miracles in one session. Usually there is, a longer time that we work. But for example, when I have this mentorship program where I work with people for 6 months, and it's because we are in a way like an onion. We peel one layer and then we are ready to take the next one. There is no, shortcut in. We have to take a layer by layer because otherwise the foundation won't be there like we need it. So when we take one layer off, and you can start to feel you get your power back, because that is also one of the things we do in the healings. Because when we are faced with trauma or grief or something really, horrible happens to us, we can leave our power. A part of our soul can be at that place. And when we get to collect that back as well, when we start to feel that we are more whole, and so things start to happen per every session. And when you follow a client for 6 months, that is the most beautiful thing to see them, from a seed to a flower.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That sounds amazing. It's so empowering also, like you said. Now, what kind of changes did you feel in yourself when you went through that healing journey? And what do you see in your clients when they start opening up to aligning with themselves, loving themselves, and healing some of those things, maybe from their ancestors or from this lifetime? What kind of changes do you see in people?
Oh, they're beautiful. They are, like I said, it's really common for people to come and not feel safe in their body, because it can be, they've been bullied, they have been in abusive relationships, narcissistic relationships that really scar them. And the transformation when they, connect again with their soul, they start to love themselves, then start to feel that, oh wow, I'm here for a reason. I have a purpose. I'm worthy of being happy, and I'm worthy of being loved. And the transformation in a person, it's just undescribable. From people, when they first come, they might be, almost the body is crooked, and they apologize for, their whole existence, and really nervous, and letting fear run their lives, and ending up, coming out of abusive relationships, or just relationships that they're not loved at all. and that they can start putting themselves first. And, find the true happiness from inside. I think that is one of the most, biggest lesson, that when they were feeling down before, they seek for the solution outside of themselves, but now they see that everything that they need, and if they're now feeling good, then when they look inside they find the answer as well. And that is empowering. That is truly empowering, when you know that you are, responsible and have all the tools you need to feel good. So yeah, the changes are just miraculous.
Yeah, I can imagine that because that journey back to yourself is probably one of the most important things that you'll ever do in this life. So, yeah, that I could see how that would completely change everything in your life for the better for most things, and letting go of things you no longer need and that have hurt you and challenged you. So, yeah, what a wonderful journey. Now, how do your clients know that they need your help? Because sometimes we might just think that that's just life. We just have to put up with it, or we have to just power through it and just get through it. So, how do your clients become aware of the fact that there are maybe some disempowering patterns or some challenges that are holding them back? How would you even know that that may have come from your ancestors? How do you become aware of things like that?
Well, you don't even have to know what is causing it. Many of my clients, they can't pinpoint, or they can't, describe in details what is going on. Usually it's about a feeling of being lost, or feeling just, fed up because they feel that they are not getting the progress, or yeah, nothing is happening. There's so much stagnation, or they're fed up of living in fear. So I think it's I want the threshold to be really low, because you don't have to know anything about, ancestors, or how this energy how it works. The only thing you have to feel in is how am I feeling? Am I do I feel like I'm being hold back? Am I not letting my light shine? Am I afraid all the time? So it's more like feeling in. Do you feel lost? And then reach out to somebody that you feel resonates, and maybe have a chat, or just, yeah, feel that, okay, maybe this is somebody who could help me move forward.
So that makes it actually very easy for people to work with you because they don't need to know why. They just need to know that something feels off and they don't feel quite right, or they don't feel like themselves. And then you can take it from there. So that sounds wonderful. And you also mentioned your breast cancer journey. And I would imagine that many people that you work with have their own physical health challenges, because that very often happens when we live in fear and we live in stress and anxiety. We start having physical problems. So, how do you incorporate these physical challenges into your healing journey? You said that that opened up something for you going through that breast cancer journey. So, how can people incorporate that when they face these really life and death physical challenges? How do you work with that in the healing journey?
Well, because everything we go through that comes out physically starts on an energetic level. So to really, really make sure that we get rid of it, we have to go to the bottom of it. And that's not to say that you don't need medical help, because we do. If we have a problem with our body, then of course we go to the doctor. And I went through the surgery as well. But if we take that part and then also take this part, that we realize that, okay, the body is trying to tell me something. Let's see what it has to say. And we train ourselves to turn inwards and start to listen, because the body is just longing to, start to discuss with you. And I know it sounds easy, and I know it takes some time, but it's the most important thing, that is so possible when you take the time to calm your mind and come down to your heart and starts to listen. What is going on? How am I actually feeling? What's the biggest thing in my life right now? What is on my mind? Am I stressed? Am I living in fear? Am I, these things? And then try to track them inwards and see what is coming up. Because, for example, cancer, if we don't find a root cause, even though we are, have gone through surgery and everything, it might come back if the root cause is not dealt with. If we continue living exactly the way we did before, then there's a chance that it might, that or something else, because the body keeps talking until we listen. And that's been really amazing in the healing sessions as well, because people can come and say, oh, my hip is really, really hurting and I can't walk. And we go in and check. And then we see that in the sacral, in the womb space, can be some time of, usually in the womb space, we find insecurities, we find fear. And when we start to work with that, they so often get messages, oh my God, what did you do? The pain has gone away and I haven't done anything else. So it's awesome to see how the energetics, our energy body communicates with our physical body and how we actually can make a difference there. And that is the whole inner journey, the inner healing work.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who ignore when the body talks, and then bigger and bigger things keep happening, and until you finally listen and sit down and actually acknowledge what is happening and do the healing work. So really important that we actually acknowledge our bodies and what they're trying to tell us so that we can take the work from there. Yeah.
For exactly like for me, the breast cancer, if you think about the breasts, they are there to nurture a child, for example, and that message came so clear to me that I haven't nurtured myself. I haven't given myself the love that I'm. So that was my way back to my self-love.
Yeah. And what do you usually give your clients for some practical things that they can do? So, if they've come to you and they have realized that they are at a point where something's not quite right for them and they'd like to start that healing work, are there any practical steps or things that they can do in their daily lives to actually start listening to themselves and start working on that inner healing that we've been talking about? Anything that you would recommend to them?
Yeah, one thing is to meditate or to just calm your mind. I know for some people the word meditate can be a bit triggering because they tried and it didn't work, and I want to take the threshold down of that as well, because it's all about taking the time for yourself to calm your mind, be in your heart and listen inwards, whether it is it's music you have on, or really somebody who's taking you on a meditation journey, but that you start to really love yourself that much that you take some time per day for yourself. That is the first step. You put yourself first and then see what starts to come up. The other thing I really like to recommend is to start journaling. Journal and write all of those really hard things, the hard emotions, the difficult emotions. And because today I learned that some people actually think that, but I understand it can be easy to think that if I don't think about those and try to put in positive thoughts on top of those, then maybe that solves the problem. And in a way I can understand that thinking, but it actually does the opposite. So we have to take them up and to look at them and feel them, all the emotions that are there. That's the only way for us to then be able to release them. And when things get heavy and we go through those feelings, the best thing to do, because then we start all of these energies moving in our body and then they need an exit. And that's the somatic part comes in. Then we have to move our body. And that could be like dancing like crazy, or that could be just, whatever feels good in the moment, just listen to the body and starts to move, or go walking in the forest, go swimming. But the body needs movement. So yeah, my top three things is meditation, journaling, and movement.
Fantastic. And those are three things that all of the listeners can try out in their lives today. They can go and get a journal. I mean, they can journal on paper, or they can journal on their laptop, whatever feels good. And they can do some movement. They can exercise if they like that, or just go for a walk. And meditation also is it can be triggering, like you said, but there are ways that we can make it work. If we feel that stillness and that being with ourselves is too triggering, then we can work out different types of meditation that actually will work a little bit better. So steps that anyone can take at any time to start that healing process and to start moving into that healing and loving space for themselves. So thank you for sharing those. And I'm sure that you share a lot more as well with your clients. So you do offer programs and services when you work with your clients. So do you want to share a little bit about what you offer? And if listeners have gotten curious through this episode, how could they connect with you? How could they work with you?
Yes, I have this mentorship program that is a beautiful individual program, and that's a 6 month long program that the client is working one on one with me. And we are doing every month, there's a shamanic healing session. I have 3 coaching sessions, and then they have the benefit of laser coaching from me, as a true time, real time support through all the 6 months. And then also access to an online portal that is full packed with different tools and practices to support in whatever stage and whatever they are moving through, throughout these 6 months. Because the fact is that when you go into this kind of deep journey, you are going through the deepest valleys and the highest mountains. There's no way you can just, flow through it all, because then nothing would happen. It's usually in the deepest valleys that we do the biggest steps forward. So it's important for me, and I think it's a beautiful way to give the support in between the sessions we have. Then the client can go and say, okay, I'm feeling like this, what could help me? And there's a different kinds of somatic exercises and meditations and what they can choose from. So yeah, in between these really powerful sessions, I'll be there and guide them, because it's usually the healing sessions are powerful and they can, blow your mind away. But the real work actually, happens in between the sessions. And that is just so beautiful to be there and witness, and to be the guide, the mentor and support that the client is needing. So, and I opened up spots again for my mentorship. So if it resonates, you can reach out and have a chat. Or if you just feel ready to book, then that's good as well. So
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing program and wonderful space to begin this healing in. So, yeah. And we, of course, will be linking to all of Marika's offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there on how you can connect with her, how you can find her online, the different programs that she offers, and how you can get a hold of her to find out more or to join. Well, this has been another incredible episode, and I really hope our listeners have enjoyed our journey into inner healing as much as I have. It has been so wonderful chatting with you today, Marika. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your wisdom with us and your journey. It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
thank you so much. It truly was a pleasure being here with you.
Yeah, we unpacked a lot of things, I feel, in a very short time, and you gave a lot of insights and practices. So thank you so very much for that. And take really great care of yourself.
Thank you, and you too.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Journey podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Journey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejourney.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.